Hi there, welcome to a rather interesting Noah Presgrove video. Today we're focusing on the theme of additional evidence on a different type of device. I'll be presenting to you key screenshots as part of a conversation from Facebook, which includes a certain individual and Brooke Bounds Carter, a longtime friend to Stevie Howard. And the responses there. I'll be analysing further as to what it could mean and the implications it has within this case and how truly true it really is. So be sure to stick around for the full understanding, and if there is time, I might catch up on some comments from the last video that I did. And speaking of which, if you did miss out watching it and previous ones, don't worry, top right corner of the screen right now, you'll see an I symbol up there. If you click on it, you'll get a drop-down box with the full playlist of this case and my earlier videos as well. Welcome to those that are currently watching this live premiere. Be sure to show your reactions and thoughts in the live chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. Big shout out and credit to those that have supported the channel in recent time, such as Cleo last night for her gifted memberships. I was a big surprise that. And of course, afterwards, I believe, Peace in Christ, shout out to them too. And for anyone, if you want to leave your thoughts, reactions, or you got any additional questions for today, or at the end of watching this video, be sure to drop a comment down below under this video, because it will help with spreading the awareness so more people will see this video. And down below, you'll find a pinned message as well by me with additional links if you do want to support this channel in alternative ways. With that being said and done, we're going to get straight into the screenshots now and begin reading. Here is the first screenshot. This is just a reference to the post of where you'll be able to find it yourself, because I'm sure some people may want to do research or maybe respond back to the comments if it's still available. This is by Brooke Bounds Carter, her post initially, on the Noah Presgrove case discussion group, October 26th, and there is a caption as well. We did actually go through this in the past before more comments were added. Whether I read out the laptop comment at the time, I think there's a fair chance that I didn't, so it must have come afterwards. So that's unfortunate. And when I tried scrolling through, I just couldn't find it. There was too much, but today it's all laid out. But we might as well just go back over this for familiarity. I can't even get that word out. So Brooke says in response to a previous comment by Amy Michelle Tuesday, since Amy Michelle Tuesday has stated anyone with a low IQ can't see Noah was murdered. I mean, first of all, the term anyone with a low IQ, I could add on to the list myself. Anyone with a low IQ would bend over backwards and bow down to intelligent people hate me, okay? And the behaviour there with time, cretins. Anybody with a low IQ would be whinging, whining, bitching and moaning about my healing and onwards. And anyone with a low IQ would be jumping the gun by falsely claiming that the titles of these videos are clickbait. The list goes on, and so do the prats, okay? There's probably an endless list that I could think of, but I don't want to think too much about low IQ because whilst I'm aware mine is 116, I don't want it to drop any more, okay, if I'm in the presence of plums. But that aside, what else do we have here? I have asked her to be very detailed with proof on this. I'm educated and definitely have street knowledge. Yo, I got street knowledge! What does that mean? Interested to see the proof and not her say to see what my low IQ is missing. And we don't really need to read it because we have done already. But if you want to pause the video, you can do so. Okay? Christina Thompson, classified as an all-star contributor. All-star? Sounds like the NBA. So, I think this is the beginning of one of the common threads. And I might have passed by this at some point, but at least how it was worded to me is that if you go to the comment section, there is a comment by Shannon Scott that states about a laptop, but I was wording it or interpreting it as the initial comment, not a part of a thread in which the original comment isn't to do with the laptop, as you'll see here. Let me zoom in. and we focus. First of all, Shannon Scott says, "It's obvious Noah was murdered. He didn't do this to himself. The question is who, how many, and who all helped to cover it up." BBC responds, "Can you provide proof since it's so obvious?" Shannon says, "The proof being that he is not alive, nor could he do these injuries to himself. Proof the kids did it." Now, at the end of the day, for Brooke to say, "Can you provide proof that it was possibly a murder and certain named individuals are responsible?" the ideal response, obviously, would be hard physical evidence, a photo, a screenshot, some kind of timestamp, CCTV footage of the event taking place in which you can easily identify who's caught up within the possible murder of Noah. That would be the ideal piece of evidence and the ideal response to Brooke's question. But obviously, that hasn't been provided at this moment and possibly isn't, easy to do, especially if you don't even live there, right? If you live on site on property and you have access to the cameras, and if they were working, that could go a long way possibly. If you're just a spectator or you don't live in the area, you don't have access to the cameras or the rich evidence and footage, so it is harder to prove things along the way. I mean, that might be an exception because in other occasions I have been able to back it up, but that's just me. Anyway, what else do we have? Shannon responds, "Did I say the kids did it? No, I did not. And for the record, you preach. Show me proof and bitch about others asking proof from your side. I would suggest to anyone, if they have proof, then turn it over to the OSBI. I can tell you from experience, they will get right on it." Now, I don't have much experience with the OSBI, but what we've looked at previously to do another case, was it Warwick City manager, that guy with the dodgy haircut, and he was done for certain activity and photos and that type of stuff with much, much younger individuals. I don't want to say the words just in case YouTube tell me off, but you get the idea, and it is covered on my channel. The investigation started January 2024, and just a couple of months ago, it came to a head and an arrest was made of some sort. It's taken quite some time, hasn't it? But there was a process, there was a method, and gathering the information along the way to make sure it stood true, and it was valid, reliable, and it could be used against a person, as incriminating evidence. The same could happen here in this case. But obviously, this has gone on longer, maybe because there's a lot more going on at stake and more evidence and possible other stuff to be collected down the line. It just takes longer, and with more people being caught up within it, whether it be those responsible or witnesses, just say there was 30 to 40 people at the party. Just that alone is a lot, isn't it? To interview everyone, to get certain statements, who's a witness, who isn't, all the different stories. It slows the progress down. Whereas if you're dealing with a case with just a small amount of people with CCTV footage and material rich in evidence and data along the way, makes it so much easier. And if it's not in a rural area, it does help. That's the first part of the conversation. Not much going on here, but it does heat up a little bit. So, zoom in a bit. Brooke, "There is no proof is my proof." What? Yes, right, on it, like those 9 arrest warrants. You were screaming from the rooftop with your buddy that felt the need to call me and tell me. What happened to those? Wonder why no one's been arrested off those warrants. Sure is a long time to wait and serve them. So this is a bit random, isn't it? 9 warrants, arrest ones. If that's in relation to this case of Noah Presgrove, 9 party goers? That's a lot, isn't it? Because at least when we narrow it down to the familiar faces at the party, Brylan, Isaac, Mikey, Caden, Jack, who else? Avery, Carter, Logan, Jasmine, Stephanie. That's 10 people. And here it's talking about 9 arrest warrants. So does it mean everyone except for Caden Pressey then? Now, got to take in mind, there might be other named individuals who were there, but I just don't know of them, and such as with the Texas boys. But it does make you think, doesn't it? Let's see what Shannon says. I was not screaming that. More lies. I assure you, no one needs to provide proof to anyone but the LE. Brooke, right. Your friend Melissa called me to tell me all about the 9 warrants. So again, what happened to them? Yes, you're correct. Yo lies. Brooke, bingo. Bingo? Oh no, does that mean Cafe Bingo Hall Bingo Bingham is present? No, I don't think so. Let's continue. We will get there, just hold on. Shannon responds, the same person you all accused along with me of releasing the interview. Sure. What is the interview? This is in response or like in relation to Caden Pressey's private interview with police, which was leaked or hacked. Some people believed it was Brooke Bounds-Carter responsible. Others were saying she was, and then it was passed on to Travis Davidson and others. Who knows? Obviously, Brooke has defended herself and said, it's nothing to do with me. I didn't do it. And whether it came from Brooke or another person out there saying it wasn't leaked or it wasn't hacked, it was actually passed out or handed over to certain people by Alicia Lee. And then obviously Alicia Lee says, nope, that didn't happen. That originally, was it an attorney in a Dropbox or some kind of thing was set up for the attorney, and then it was put into there and somehow it got hacked. Can the hack not be traced back? Anything like that? In terms of hacking in general, other people have been impacted in different ways. Is that because of resistance, getting too close to the truth in the case? Maybe. It depends. Brooke, I can provide proof. 1 minute. Anything else, if I state something, I will happily back it up. And there you go. It is a bit too small to see, but I believe we do have a screenshot of it on the next page, which is here. Let's start from the top. Melissa Williams. Who is Melissa Williams? I don't know. The only Melissa that I've heard of was the mother to that cousin. The mother to Georgia, I should say. And Georgia being the cousin to Caden Pressey. Caden Pressey's cousin, the 15-year-old called Georgia. And the mother of Georgia is Melissa. But I'm guessing that the name on here is not the mother and possibly a different person. So here's the thing, there are so many names out there and there's a range of different people with similar names and it's trying to work out who's who. I mean, there was a time where on my channel someone was called CC, like the letter C dot or space C. And I was thinking, does that mean Carter Combs? But it wasn't. And then there was another person called Bingham. And I thought, wait, are they related to Kathy Bingham? But that wasn't the case. It goes on and on and on. You can let me know in the comment section if you've ended up getting wires crossed and there's been misunderstandings with identifying people. So roughly August 28th, 2024 at 8:31 p.m. an audio call 12 minutes 1 second long. August 28th at 8:59 p.m. And who is this on the right-hand side? I believe it's Brooke Bounds-Carter. Did you say Stevie was at Chili's too when this laptop was sold? Laptop? What I was told. Who did you buy the laptop from that supposedly bought from Landon or Landon? He works in the oil field in New Mexico, or did. Look, I told you all I'm going to tell you. My information is credible and despite what shade you may throw it, will lead to convictions. My son is in the hospital. I'm trying to get him ready for bed. I'm not an evil person, but I would definitely encourage to love your loved ones right whilst you can. Right, so we're really jumping at the deep end here, aren't we? Who knows what was actually mentioned in that audio call for 12 minutes long. But why are we talking about Stevie at Chili's? Stevie Howard, right? That's probably why it is. At Chili's when a laptop was sold. And who did you buy the laptop from? That supposedly bought from Landon. Wait, so there was a laptop in ownership or in the hands of Landon and Stevie. First of all, if you don't know who Landon is, full name Landon Armstrong, the husband or boyfriend of Stevie Howard. Stevie Howard, the mother to Carter Combs and Avery Combs. Stevie Howard in a relationship with Landon. You'll see it in the profile picture on Stevie's Facebook page. And it's where it looks like they're in a bar. Landon has a normal face, wearing a hat and a beard, and Stevie is doing like a fish face with the lips. You'd probably be familiar, won't you? So Landon had a laptop. Somebody bought it off of him, and then that someone ended up selling it to, Melissa? Being passed around a little bit, kind of like the theme of information within this case, handed about. But how significant is this laptop? Why does it matter so much besides the 9 arrest warrants, which could be to do with the case? Well, we'll need to look a bit deeper in just a second. But let's just see what additional slides, what we have first, okay? Zoom in just a little bit more. Shannon says in response to that, must be true. Laughing my ass off. Sure is, doll. Melanie MacDonald. You keep asking for proof, Brooke, as if you're trying to find out how much people really know. In addition, well, apparently your shady ass family has a history of covering shit up. At least that's what I've heard and articles I've read. A history of covering things up. Now, at least from the articles that I've read, I've not come across that type of stuff. But if it's other cases, it's likely the reason why I've not come across it. At this moment in time, you might be scratching your head wondering, where's this actually going? Well, don't worry, it's all under control. I've got some additional screenshots to share with you in just a second, but I just wanted to put things into perspective before we go any further. I know we've been looking at the conversation between BBC and Shannon, and supposedly the theme is whenever certain touchy subjects are brought up, BBC backs off and goes quiet. Now, I wouldn't know completely because I've not been around all this time, but other people have highlighted that. So when we get into the other screenshots, it might make more sense as to why. But yeah, the reference by BBC, or at least that screenshot text of Melissa and BBC about a laptop being bought from Landon, who's in a relationship with Stevie Howard. Why does the laptop matter? Because there are 9 arrest warrants on it. Are they still available? Have they gone? Does it directly link to party goers and the Noah Presgrove case? I wonder. It might make a little bit more sense in a second or so. But when you see it for the first time, you might be thinking, it's like a tease. It's like teasing slightly, almost like my nips, but there's no teasing today because 1, nothing is on show. You can't see them, right? So sorry to disappoint some people, but more importantly, there isn't much teasing today in this video because of those additional screenshots in regards to the laptop. But to put things into perspective, what I do want to make very clear, I don't expect people to believe in it 100%, considering the way this case has gone, whether it be handled by authorities in a dodgy way, or just handled and how messages have been passed about in conversations online in the discussions on Facebook, poor language, wording, timing, jumping the gun at times, with all respect, right? Just being honest. So messy stuff's happened. It's not infected me too much, maybe once or twice, which is unfortunate. Apologies about that. But for most part of it, under control here. And with that, appropriate wording will be used today. So if there's any counter resistance to, oh, well, why are you not stating it as a 100% fact? Why are you wording it in this way? It's because I'm protecting myself, but also the case as well to an extent, so it doesn't become a complete circus show. Because it doesn't matter what side people are on. Either way, there are breakdowns in communication, and it's been very evident. It just doesn't help, does it? So we're taking that in mind. Some people say, take it with a grain of salt. I don't. I prefer pepper. Black pepper. What the fuck? Anyway, let's go over to the additional comments right now. Here is part of the conversation. Now, based off the colour of the box, it doesn't look like it's from Facebook, whether that be on a different platform, SMS, text message, who knows. But we'll just read it anyway. Here's the information pertaining to a laptop that's been mentioned recently. Please just keep it anonymously as I don't want my name mentioned. As you can clearly see, no name has been mentioned. I figured you could go about it since it's been mentioned in the discussion group. I'm sending the screenshots of which post it's in. Right. Let's continue. So, evidently, there is a laptop that Landon and Stevie Howard sold. I would assume that it contains evidence and material since Melissa told Brooke about the 9 warrants. That's about all I know and can give is what's in the screenshot. So, in all fairness, that Landon and Stevie may have well had a laptop. Selling one isn't a big deal, shouldn't be too strange. But if the laptop did or does have key evidence or some kind of material in reference to the actual party that Noah attended, well then, why would they be getting rid of it, passing it on to somebody else? Wouldn't it make more sense to just completely destroy the laptop? Or is this the equivalent of Jack Newton selling on his side-by-side and possibly another vehicle? It comes down to, I guess, the timing of it. Is it straight after Noah's death or is it beyond? And as well, is there a level of urgency or a lack of it? Because that's how it was with Jack. Anyway, to say I would assume that it contains evidence. Right, so this person doesn't know for definite that it does contain evidence and material to do with the party. But the mention about 9 warrants. I mean, are the 9 warrants truly linked to the party goers of the party at the time of 2023, which Noah last attended? Or is it 9 warrants about something else at a different time? Why do you even have information about 9 warrants on a laptop in the first place? How does that benefit the individual behind the laptop? I wonder. So some people might be, I don't know, disappointed in this, but, you know, I'm reading it raw, just like my reaction, first time seeing this. And in addition, what else has been mentioned? Someone sent me this information. LE has the laptop. Right, so now they've got the laptop. When did they obtain it and how? Rumoured to have information and or video/photos of the party events regarding Noah's death. Landon is Stevie's boyfriend. He factory reset the laptop and then sold it. It did still have evidence on it and vital information regarding Noah's murder. What we need to do now is just break it down bit by bit. First of all, Landon in the presence of a laptop. Why are they in possession of it? And if this is all linked to the party, well, shouldn't it belong at the party house, right? But then again, when it comes to certain items at the party house, like Noah's possessions, to an extent, they didn't remain there. They were moved on and maybe dumped or hidden elsewhere. So I guess the same can happen with a laptop. Now, in terms of the party footage, what I saw, I didn't see any laptops. There might have been party goers with their own phones, but if there's a laptop on site in the house, it must have been one of the person's possessions who likely lives there, whether that be Avery, Carter, or Logan Jernigan at the time. But why would a laptop even have possible key evidence to do with Noah's death on it? And at what point did that take place? We'll get to that in a second if we need to go deeper there. But if it needed to be moved on, so it's in the safe hands of someone that people trust, which would be, the mother, Stevie Howard, and then Stevie being with Landon, looking out for, Carter, Avery, Logan, possibly, and anyone else in between. But then you got Jack. I'm surprised there wasn't any interference there. Oh, no, let's cart it off to the prize donkey, no offence, to Caleb Newton, because he seems to get given all the items, the guns, this and that, and then returns it back afterwards. Like how it seems to come across with time. You've got Jack Newton, Jack the Sleepwalker, supposedly. You've got Carter Combs, or Carter. I don't know, Noah, but I'm going to get a little bit closer to him in the shower so I can learn a bit more. Yeah, Carter, whatever the name is. I'm getting mixed up with all the names. Combs. So hopefully that makes sense. But in terms of a laptop being handed over to someone else in safe hands, passing on the responsibility mainly. If someone like Stevie Howard can be confident and say, well, if we were responsible, the parents, for Noah's death, we would have done a better job at covering it up. Well, it's good to know in the future, if there are any more other deaths, we'll just pass it on to you to clean up then, the cleaner, because you seem to do a good job at it, supposedly. So here's a laptop with possible evidence on. You take it, you sort it out, because, you're good at clearing things up, possibly without much trace. You could see it that way. Mother looking out for the daughters, protecting and caring. That's natural, normal behaviour, even when it's on the dark side. I get it. But then the reference to Landon, okay? With Landon being with Stevie, it's one of those things where it doesn't always happen, but naturally speaking, reality is if you do come across someone, if you get into a relationship with someone, whatever the problems are now shared, which lightens the load. There's an understanding that once you get involved and then you're in it for the long term, supposedly, sort things out together, and pre-existing problems on one side of an individual get passed on to the other person, and then it's maybe resolved quicker and whatnot. And the responsibilities you take on, because when Landon gets with Stevie, Stevie's already got daughters, so that Landon becomes, what is that, stepfather or something? I'm not an expert, but something like that. So responsibilities along the way, sharing issues too, and possibly resolving them. Landon factory resetting the laptop. How do we know that? Is it because once the laptop eventually ended up in the right hands of who? That person called Melissa. That when searching on it, there was nothing to be found. Then it's been factory resetted. But in the first place, you would need to know that there was something on it to begin with, right? Of value to then come to a conclusion that, it's been factory resetted and that's all been lost. The reference of, it's in the hands of the police now. At what time though? And how did it get exchanged? There are grey areas, but I'll try and work out as I go along. Just take in mind, this is my raw reaction in the moment. It was a viewer-requested video that needed to be done as soon as possible. So I've not had as much time. So that's why I'm taking my time when doing this, so it's as clear as possible. So you've got a laptop, which could be from the party house, you would think, if it's relevant to the case. Who owns it? Could be Carter, Combs, Avery Combs, or Logan. In terms of arrest warrants, I don't know how they would end up on there or why exactly, but if we're talking about alleged photos or videos of the events of Noah's death, or the events leading up to Noah's death. What, the side-by-side rollover, the shower, the teabagging, eating food, Carter, Avery having an argument on the front porchway after Noah left and never returned back, maybe. It's kind of hard to tell. And that's also said with a level of uncertainty. So how it's been worded and structured with what I've read today is, it seems to be certain to an extent that police do have the laptop in question, but it's uncertain as to whether the laptop still, or at least just has, any relevant evidence or photos linked to the party and Noah's death. I know some people could be thinking, oh, so it's not that groundbreaking, but still, it's got to be acknowledged just in case. As for Landon factory resetting the laptop to then sell it on afterwards, that's really suspicious. No. In general, it's not really. Whether it be a phone, a laptop, a game console, a computer, if you're going to sell it, ideally, you want to get whatever's off from the computer, take it off and put it onto something else, or just outright delete it and factory reset. And that's for your own personal safety and protection. You might have sensitive documents and files on whatever device, personal photos, and anything else, passwords, notes, contacts. It could be anything, really, anything personal to you. Do you want that type of data and information to end up in the wrong hands? No. So you'll do your best to either wipe it clean or take it all off, put it onto maybe an external hard drive and transfer it elsewhere, whichever way, through Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, via cable, iTunes, Dropbox, whatever. It makes more sense when that takes place when you're about to sell on an item to someone online, in real life, at an official store, a pawn shop, other types of exchange shops, friends, whoever you're selling it onto, or even just as a gift, giving it to somebody else. You go into factory reset it, so then when they get it, it's completely fresh, brand new. They can create their own new account, their own personal profile, without any of your sensitive stuff crossing over. Because if it gets into the wrong hands, who knows what they could do with it. So it's normal to factory reset stuff in moments like that. But I can understand the skepticism, the cautiousness, because of the general theme of factory resetting stuff like phones at the party. Someone like Brooke Bounds-Carter said phones weren't factory reset, such as Carter Combs. She got a brand new phone because a week or two before got involved in some kind of crash. The phone was damaged, so she had to buy a new one. Now, when you buy a new phone, depending if it's of the same brand, you can possibly sign in and it might save certain data, and if it's in the cloud as well. If not, you'd probably have to do a transfer between two phones, and if the other one's written off and just doesn't work, you probably have to start off from scratch, which is unfortunate. But even if that excused Carter Combs, what about the other people? What I would like to know, as a simple question, if it can be answered clearly, leave it down below in the comments section. My question is, where is the proof of phones being factory reset? Was anyone at the party stood behind another party goer looking at the person's phone screen and they could identify that the individual was clicking delete, factory reset, refresh, and whatnot? Did anyone physically see it? I know maybe the point has been made by others is that, well, on Snapchat at the time, I saw this post and that post, and then afterwards it all went quiet, or it was all taken down and deleted, didn't see it again. Is that the cause for concern of, well, it must have been deleted and the phones must have been factory reset then? Because the only way to physically know whether something's been factory reset is if you're there in the moment. Like, you were stood next to somebody that had an iPhone, they went into settings, delete account, or literally press the factory reset button, and you lose everything. The phone turns off, it turns back on, it starts up with the welcome screen and the multiple different languages, and you got to go through the setup process of creating your account and personalizing it as you would with when you buy a brand new phone. It's the same method. If you're there to witness all that take place, then yes, you can confirm that things have been factory resetted. But how do other people know if they weren't at the party and they never got a hold of those phones physically? How do they know? I mean, with the exception, not that it's the truth, but how I interpret it. Justin Roy has been quite vocal about things being factory reset, okay, by different party goers. Well, it just so happens that Justin Roy had like 10 family related people that were actually at the party. So out of Justin Roy's family that was at the party at the time, how many of them saw with their own eyes phones being factory reset? If it is the truth, then it makes more sense there. People actually witnessed it in the moment. If nobody witnessed it physically in the moment, I don't know, it's kind of hard to kind of understand or believe. You've got to take in mind, if something like the shower, you know, the shower footage of Noah and that side-by-side rollover footage, if they're examples of videos that have been taken down factory reset from people's phones at the time, then how the fuck were they posted later on Facebook? And who by? So there must have been copies, whether it be by the same people or someone else. They were posted from what others have witnessed. They were taken down afterwards, but still posted later on. And if those clips were a part of the factory reset, they should have been lost forever, I guess, unless people had a backup copies or screenshotted it or saved the videos at the time. The other thing what you got to take in mind then, when it comes to Snapchat, you can have disappearing messages, photos, videos, where it might only be visible for 24 hours or a bit longer. You might be able to set a certain limit, and then after that, it vanishes, never to be seen again. It applies to an extent on Instagram as well, and even in recent time on YouTube, the community post section. If I was to post a photo in the community section and I thought, oh, naughty Raf, that's a little bit too much, it's going to give someone a heart attack, or it's going to raise the blood pressure too high, well, don't worry, aftercare and healing is there. Dr. Raf is present, but that's irrelevant for now. But if a photo was posted or something that was said and one regretted it afterwards, well, obviously you can delete it, but more so in the moment, specifically speaking, if you felt, well, you know what, I've got something here, it's important, but I don't want it to be a lasting impression. What you can do on YouTube in the community post section is click on the timer, not the schedule one, but the timer, which I think is the sand timer symbol. And then it says disappears within the next 24 hours. So from now till then, anyone can see it. But then after that, it's gone. Obviously, in the meantime, if people want to screenshot it, screen record it, they can. And it will remain forever. So I'm sure people are taking some notes now for the future. But that's what can happen there. And it can happen on Snapchat. Is there a possibility that anything that was witnessed or seen on Snapchat at the time of the party by people who weren't there but checking on in through social media, that what they did see was posted as a disappearing message post that later you can't see it again, or it self-deletes. And then people assume that, oh, it must be factory reset, oh, it must be hidden, the truth and whatnot. It does make you think that. Now, this does link back to the laptop situation, a separate event in which Landon has factory reset it. In a normal occasion, you would think, well, it's very normal, case closed. But with what we've seen and heard, discussions in this case to do with other stuff, I guess people are a little bit tense and extra cautious now. And if the laptop is from the party house and was present during the party, who knows what could be on it. But why would stuff be on it in the first place? That's what you got to ask yourself. 99.9% of partygoers may have had their phones with them, and a fair portion may have used them at some point, maybe to take a photo, a selfie, a video, for Snapchat, Instagram, or anywhere else. Would they have kept them on their phones? Maybe, maybe not. But What purpose does the laptop serve? How do you end up with photos and possibly videos of the events or the event of Noah's death on that laptop? You're not going to be carrying a laptop around recording things because it doesn't quite work like that. I think most laptops nowadays do have a web camera. A webcam? Webcam, yeah. Like a little front-facing camera where you can do Zoom calls, meetings, like voice calls, video calls and whatnot, kind of like a mobile phone. Some people put blue tack over the cameras just to be extra safe in case anyone hacks into it. It would have happened for people in the past. It's a bit awkward and a bit messy, isn't it? But nevertheless, are you going to be using a webcam somehow to be turning it around, flipping it, holding it, and recording everything that's going on around? No, you're not. Absolutely not. It's more practical using a mobile phone, a smartphone, to record anything to capture the moment or a memory, good or bad. As to what people do with it then, for it to end up on the laptop, you'd have to transfer it over via cable, maybe Dropbox, depending what brand it is, like an Apple laptop and an Apple phone, makes it a bit easier, iTunes, and anything else in between, transferring it over to the laptop. But why would you do that? Maybe to create memories, a collage. Oh, you know, some of us, we've got great photos and videos of the party. Maybe we can use it in the future or use it as memories to reflect back on in a positive way. And it just so happened that what slipped through the cracks or the gaps was some very sensitive media unknown to some at the party when transferring certain phone data onto the laptop. Is there a possibility that phones that may have been factory reset weren't quite, and that whatever were on those phones, like photos and videos, were just simply transferred from phone to laptop? Cut and paste. You take everything from your phone, you transfer it onto the laptop, as in media, and only media, and maybe some audio files as well. It's possible. Why would you do that though? And who is more likely to do that? If you're going to cut and paste, meaning you're taking off from the phone, putting onto the laptop, it means whoever has that phone, they've got nothing left on it to look back on as for the party or the memories. It would make more sense for someone that lives at the house, Logan, Carter or Avery, for the phones, which may have had media on, to be transferred onto the laptop. Because whilst it's left their phone, it's not left them for good because they're in possession of that laptop, which may be present. And then they can access all the media from there and upload if they want to, or create edits, compilations for like TikTok and whatnot. Because that's what people do. Obviously, mobile editing and stuff like that can be popular for TikTok, but other platforms and deeper editing tools will be more so on laptops and computers. So that could be one of the reasons as to why maybe media was transferred onto it. As for the 9 arrest warrants, I just don't know about that. And to be honest, even if it's somehow linked to the party, have we actually heard any news or follow-up of these arrest warrants? No. So maybe the party goers or whoever's in possession of the laptop at any point that knows about it doesn't need to worry too much if the authorities aren't really doing much to begin with. Not really proactive, so no real room for concern for those that may be involved or know of the stuff that's going on. So, like I said, when looking at the party footage, I didn't see any laptops in view. But you can let me know if you saw anything like that. What was the laptop actually used at the party, or is it just laying on the side? Who knows? And at what point could it have been accessed or anything transferred onto it for alleged photos and video to be on that? And then what happened? That it had all that sensitive stuff on, maybe. It was handed over to Stevie by whoever. Landon knew what to do with it, factory reset, and then was like, well, we might as well sell it on. But why? Why not just factory reset the laptop and keep a hold of it? Because who's going to know beyond who's going to refer and think, you know what, that laptop is dodgy. There's something on it or something was on it. The only reason why things have backfired to an extent and we're having this conversation is because that laptop was sold, passed on to someone, and then supposedly sold on to somebody else. It didn't last long. Who is that middle man and why? And this person called Melissa, whether it's, just talking about the arrest warrants or beyond, for Melissa to know about that would mean that the laptop couldn't have been factory reset, or Melissa already was in possession or was present with the laptop before it was factory reset, to then know afterwards when it was factory reset that now those things what she once saw are no longer on it. If you're being given an item for the very first time, whether it's factory reset or not, brand new, for example, it's not exactly factory reset, second-hand, refurbished, you may assume it's factory reset, but you wouldn't know it's been done in a suspicious way. You got an item, you received it, you paid for it, let's say. You look at it and you think, oh yeah, 9 arrest warrants. Can't be possible. If you factory resetted it, and everything would have been lost, right? For you to know about 9 arrest warrants and maybe other bits and bobs, then you must have known beforehand other stuff. So it's not your first time seeing the laptop, or it's not your first time seeing the phone. That's like how it comes across, in my opinion. But it's like, if the laptop remained where it needed to be in the first place, I don't think it would have come about this. Is there enough hard evidence? Not really, but if you was to measure and gauge people's reactions and responses to hearing of these discussions, so when some bring it up and say, you know what, that laptop, it's got stuff on, or at least it did, and someone like BBC basically goes quiet, backs off, doesn't talk as much, it's like, I wonder why. If you measure resistance, okay? When you measure resistance at a time of when you found something, you got close to the possible truth, and then you were attacked or silenced or threatened, it's probably a bit of an indicator. It's a marker that you're on the right track, the right pathway. If you're online and you're very consistent and you're growing as a channel in whatever community, and you get resistance or you get hate, it's kind of like an indirect compliment that you're doing well, you're doing the right thing, you're moving up, you're making progress, other people aren't, and that's why they're being negative. When it comes to exercise and growing from there, such as naturally, if you get falsely accused on and off, false claims about taking enhancements, unnatural stuff, it's because they just can't comprehend the progress you've made. Okay, you got to measure these reactions and these factors. It's kind of like if you're out somewhere and you get a strong sense of strawberry, it's like, bloody hell, how far or how close is Sharon? Okay, like some little tracker thing. That was just a little bit of a joke, random. But you get the idea. When there's a certain action or a thing said, how do people respond to it? Are they boisterous? Are they defensive? Are they aggressive? Are they quiet? Do they change in behaviour? And if they do change and it's quite noticeable, then maybe there's a bit more to it. Okay, it might not be hard evidence, but it's an observation. And observations, kind of like when you're doing an interrogation or when police are questioning and they look for the body language, the eye contact, the voice, how they look visually, if there's any changes throughout the questioning, that can be a bit of a giveaway sometimes. So maybe that can apply here as well. But if it's true that police are in possession of the laptop, is that really a good thing? Or is it in the right hands once again, which benefits the opposition? Oh, it's ended up in the police hand. Doesn't matter, because the police haven't been proactive that much already. Are we talking about the LE, or are we talking about the OSBI? Or the Highway Patrol? How many different organisations or levels of authority are they? And at what level does whom have the laptop? If it's at the very bottom, or if it's with certain bent coppers, police people who are in on it, supposedly, is it really going to go anywhere? Like how people in the past may have said, well, this has been handed over, that's been handed over. Okay. Has it led to anything yet? Nope. Does that mean nothing's going on in the background? Who knows? Once again, if you used to refer back to the Warwick City manager, the one that got in trouble to do with underage people and activity like that, that went on for a year, that investigation with the OSBI, and then finally reached ahead and made public news at a later point. Maybe the same could happen here, and along the way, it's just the building blocks of passing on the relevant information and evidence, building the case, making sure it's strong and it stands up maybe in court, and then making arrest, and then more. Does it briefly tie in with these 9 arrest warrants? Well, maybe, maybe not, but if you had to guess down below who those 9 arrest warrants could be, and if it's all to do with one case or several, you can let me know down below. And as well, why would it even be on a laptop in the first place? I mean, the way it's been worded today is as in someone has to know something, but a different person compared to the likes of Stevie, Landon, and maybe certain partygoers who at some point were in possession of the laptop. The middleman? Well, at the end of the day, if Landon reset the laptop, cleared it all completely, the next person that received it, there wouldn't have been really anything on it. And then the next person that received it, I'm guessing Melissa, there wouldn't be anything on it. So how would you know about the 9 arrest warrants? And allegedly more, or from someone else's mouth, the anonymous person. How would the anonymous person know about the photos and videos? Is it because they're a party goer? Is it because they were there at the time? They've been in possession of the laptop before it was factory reset? I wonder. You know, this is the thing. You could have a loose mobile phone at the party which Noah attended, and you could just assume and say, well, whoever's phone it is doesn't really matter, but it's likely you're going to have proof of it, of Noah's death. What, just because it's at the party, at the time of the party which Noah attended? So it must mean it was used by someone. There's no guarantee there, is there? You can say it's more relevant and the chances are more likely, but it's not absolutely guaranteed. But once again, how it's been worded today by people anonymous, supposedly, possibly, assumed or presumed. So I guess appropriate language has been used, but how people react or take to this information is to keep it somewhat under control and not to go off on one or Chinese whispers, because things like this can expand and go downhill. And we don't want that. It can backfire. So, with that being said, maybe we should go over to the comment section now of the previous video that I did, which may not quite be on the same wavelength as this discussion, but it's still relevant to the case of Noah. What I will do is adjust it to the newest. We do have a handful of comments, so I'm just going to try and be efficient when going for it. First of all, TJ says, all these days have gone by and this was an accident. I call you kiddos out. No way, keep spinning your lies. If this was an accident, why all the lies? This is really starting to ruffle my feathers. I am 100% for truth. Justice for Noah. Bullies are never winners. My opinion only. I am for Noah. And as well, hello Raf. I sure hope you're feeling better. Thank you for all your hard work and time you put in and justice for Noah. Such a good man sent by God. Thank you. So I appreciate that. It's very good of you to say. So yeah, shout out to TJ. Badger, keep doing what you're doing. Will do. Shout out to Badger Life. Oh, back with the dog profile picture. It's make me start barking in a second. Teresa, not an accident. BS. Bring on the arrest. Safia, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. That's because fake people don't do their jobs, my opinion. Tammy. Have I seen Tammy before? I don't know if Tammy Burden has been on an alternative channel elsewhere, if my memory's correct, but nevertheless. She says, don't know if you talked about this, but in the video of Noah dancing, if you pause it, he has no writing on his chest and stomach, and it's supposed to be from Sunday night or Monday morning, but the picture of Noah and Jack in the bathroom at 1:50 a.m, Noah has writing all over his chest and stomach. Right, okay. Yeah, there is some footage of Noah dancing about and he's wearing the black shorts, and that's why it's referenced to Sunday or Monday. You know what, maybe we do a separate video about that. Let me just screenshot it just so I can remember. Look, what you can see right now in the making of video ideas being generated because of viewers that watch these videos. So at the end of the day, whether people think about it or not, people that watch my videos, some of whom are responsible for future, videos because of the ideas, which is a good thing. Mark, another rap track comes to mind, Jealous Fellas. I can't make this up. Yeah. I mean, can I rap? Maybe once or twice. But I can't think of one on the spot. What is it? Tick, 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 tock. That's the sound of my Glock. There we go. I don't have one though. Safia, that's rich for Jack to say that about Noah. Jack the Snake, as said by Safia. Carter Combs, knew Noah, yet didn't know him at all, then didn't know him well. Oh, she knew Noah up close and personal, in my opinion. Why would Jack hate Noah so much? Because Noah had a fling with Carter while she was with Jack. Beth says, plus I heard Carter was cheating her boyfriend with Jack when they first met. Wait, you mean Carter was with another guy at the time of when coming across Jack? Is that so? Do we have proof? We got a guy called John. There was a lady at 3:45 a.m. Monday morning, September 4th, I'm guessing, because I do believe it's been referenced in the past, driving down the road. What, the highway? Yeah, the highway. Before the truck drivers discovered Noah on the side of the road. That would be the first wave of truck drivers, not Tyler and Tyler Hardy, but some unnamed earlier truckers, which Caden came across at around 5:21 onwards. Okay? So, on the side of the road, this woman said she saw an ATV come out of nowhere around the area they found Noah's body. She must have witnessed Noah being ran over and over. Am I wrong? I heard this some time back. Beth. Or that was when they dumped his body. She never stated that she witnessed Noah getting ran over nor seen Noah's body. I think what John was trying to get at was the area where it supposedly took place is where it was later to be found that that's where Noah was at. So kind of like putting 1 and 2 together, especially with it being dark, you probably wouldn't see anyway. But how true is this story? Where did it come from? Who by? How genuine? Is it for 15 minutes of fame or is it really genuine? Do we have hard evidence or what? Safia, in my opinion, the shower, to be honest, what I'll do, I'll screenshot it again. Bloody hell, the video ideas coming on in. It's like raining with them. We'll get to it bit by bit. Take in mind, I've not forgotten, we need to do the river. We're going to do a river analysis at some point. Safia, in my opinion, the shower was to wash off the writing and DNA. Some people think Noah was showered twice at the party. The more times Noah has washes, the higher the chances that the writing will get washed off eventually. Safia, I wish Noah just got into the Marine straight out of high school and not waited for his cousin. He'd still be alive today, in my opinion. Well, he could possibly be, but you never know because nothing's guaranteed. You could end up... something else could happen to you in other ways, but realistically, in terms of this specific cause of death, it probably wouldn't have happened, would still be alive. But if Noah ever returned back to the area or was hanging out with those people in the future, he could still die. You never know, right? If you completely cut ties with certain people, never see them again, then you won't experience bad encounters from them, likely. There's no way to call out all the lies, there are just too many. Exactly, that's true. Side-by-side accident is significant, as is everything else. I've learned not to dismiss anything in this case. Fair enough. That's what I did in the Kenny Veach one, because things disappear out of nowhere. So you got to just listen, take it in, and maybe get screenshots just in case. There's no proof, of course, that Noah was jumping around after the shower and teabagging anyone. Where's the video evidence? There isn't any, of course. Yeah, considering everything else has been documented, this is what I find interesting. Why did no one record Noah teabagging people if people were quite okay recording Noah supposedly naked in the shower? What's the difference? Oh, well, that's inappropriate. Well, isn't it also inappropriate recording someone in a shower without consent? Oh, but they still do it? And then it's uploaded afterwards, temporarily on Facebook, supposedly. One rule for one thing, one rule for another. Dodgy. Unless it's because it simply never happened. If someone or some people are quite okay recording Noah naked in the shower, then likely you'd expect them to be the same with recording Noah teabagging people. If you're going to do one thing, you're probably going to do the other. If that's your mentality at the time and you find it funny and a bit silly. But didn't seem to happen. Anything else? I can't really think at the moment. Robbie says, you should check out the new post by Noah Bentley. Apparently Jan Friorillo was manipulating people by pulling her offer early and then laid low so people would think someone took it, staging post to push her narrative too. I'll be honest with you, it didn't really lead to much. And it didn't cause that much confusion or trouble. It came, it went. And when she broke her silence, it was like, oh, not to be too negative or downplay things, it wasn't that impactful. Okay? That's my opinion. Sherry, great, the truth is getting out there, and I think there is more coming. So it seems like Jan Friorillo is under attack from all sides at this moment in time. But other people would have encountered being attacked on and off from all sides as well. We have also seen it where people can turn on others very quick, even if there isn't hard evidence, and people have known one another for some time. It's very unstable. But if there is time, maybe we'll take a look at the post by Noah Bentley, try and understand it, just in case there's been a misunderstanding somehow. Do you know what? Here we go again. Another screenshot, another video idea. What are we on now? 3 or 4 video ideas. You see how it works? Beth, Jack sure does sound jealous here in the text now, doesn't he? He sounds like the backstabber he is, and hypocrite. Angel, didn't Caden say Colton and 2 of us came in and took alcohol? Maybe they were on the side-by-side? Yeah, Caden, when he was asleep, Sunday night or going into Monday morning, no time given, Caden said he was woken up by Colton, Travis Monson, and a skinny guy returning back to the house, meaning Caden was aware that those guys were present earlier or the day before. These guys returned back to get alcohol and then, I guess, left. But the timing of it is important because they crossed paths with Noah when Noah was walking away to cool off or returning back to the house, right? Safia, this is my opinion. I think Colton was there along with Caleb et al. What does et al mean? And all? Teresa, I don't think anyone in that picture did it. That was just a previous video to do with the perspective from Caden of the cousin Noah, and Noah's in the kitchen area saying that I don't think any of them are responsible. Teresa, I think someone called someone to the party to do the damage to Noah. That's why he wanted a ride home to get out of there, and he knew he was going to be outnumbered or taken somewhere. No one's saying who came and took Noah or watched. Right, if that's the case, Teresa, do you think that when Noah felt like he had his back against the wall and no one would take him home, that was a sign for Noah to get in that side-by-side and try and leave that way, and it didn't work? Do you think that's the case? Safia, I agree. I mean, is there any chance that, like a horror film where you feel that there's danger, you need to get out, you need to flee the house or the property, and as you're driving away, you end up crashing into a tree or the vehicle breaks down, the killer or the bad people capture you, return you back to the house, drug you up, or you're a bit dazed, you can't fight back, and now you're trapped, held against your will? Is that a theme with Noah Presgrove? Was he ever held against his will? Did he feel trapped? I wonder. Queen Cobra, interesting name. Noah Shaw is checking on and focused on that dark-haired girl in the white shirt 11 minutes in. Is that one of the Carter girls? Nope, that's Caden Pressy's 15-year-old cousin. Is that the 16-year-old Noah is dating? No, I don't think so. No, it wouldn't be. Renee, who are all the other people in the picture? A handful. Maybe we'll go over that another time again. Elizabeth, thanks, Warlight Ralph. Is the picture around the 8 minutes mark supposed to be in September? That seems quite early to have a Christmas tree up. Just an observation. I can't remember what the 8 minute mark was, but if it's probably is to do with September. I'll have to look back afterwards. Maybe they have it up all year round, maybe. Candy, when will Noah get justice? Who knows? Robert, where are the other partygoers' input? We only really have Jack and Caden's story. Others would help clear things up. Yeah, but the others don't seem to be as vocal publicly online on pages, or not as much now, so that's a shame. Angel, I think that after the side-by-side accident that Noah was more injured than people realised and possibly just thought he was really drunk and they felt they needed to sober him up, so maybe a shower will help him sober up. Didn't someone say Noah and something to also eat? Yeah, supposedly. So let's get him to eat something to soak up the alcohol and help sober him up. Did they give him coffee too? I can see adults thinking of things like that. Autopsy said no food in stomach. Yeah, that's true. Brooke says certain details were missing from the autopsy, like the food contents, but I don't know why it would be missing when you've got more significant details which are on the report compared to some bloody food in the stomach. Don't quite add up there. But I didn't know where Angel was getting at with, I think the side-by-side accident was more injured than people realised. I was waiting for Angel to say the other partygoers didn't expect much, didn't anticipate what was to happen next, and then Noah died from those pre-existing injuries. And then the others panicked and didn't know what to do, so dumped his body on the highway. Angel doesn't mention that, but that's what I thought it was going to lead to in this conversation. Beth, yeah, Jack talks bad about Noah having a 16-year-old girl that Jack makes passes at. Twisted, huh? Noah wasn't doing anything wrong being with a 16-year-old. That's the age of consent in Oklahoma. The consent part may be okay with the rules, the rules and the laws there, but isn't it? When it comes to the age of 18 in the US and states like that, that makes you an adult, doesn't it? Or what? So still, it rings true that you got an adult with a teenager. Even if the consent is okay and the rules are all above board, it's still an adult and a teenager. That's just an observation, that's all. Renee, looks to me Noah is looking at that guy shirtless with an orange-looking colour cap on. That's supposedly Jack Newton. I don't know who the little skinny-looking dude is with the black T-shirt on in between Noah and Georgia, Caden's cousin. But in the background towards the kitchen area, Carter is talking to a pretty thick, dark-headed, looks like the hair is kind of long person. At first I thought it was a guy, but then looked down and saw that they have shorts on and kind of look like girls' legs. That person has a pretty big, fresh, nasty-looking abrasion on their right forearm. I didn't see that. I tried looking, but I couldn't see it. Also, the black-headed guy to the left of Jasmine, who's seated at a table, looks pretty old to me. Looks like he has a moustache. That's the thing nowadays. People can be 14, 15 and have a full beard. I saw it myself in the past in high school. So interesting observations. Beth, Noah is standing up better than Jack is in that picture and having no issues standing, nor does he look drunk in that picture. Yeah, because when you look at that picture of Noah and Jack in the bathroom at supposedly 1:50 a.m. in the morning Monday, Jack looks like he's in some kind of like happy trance, thinking of rainbows and mushrooms. Oh, look at me. I'm sleepwalking once again. I can do multiple things and in multiple places at once. I'm clearly a magician. I am Jack of all trades. Does that sound? Oh boy. Miss Noah dating a girl 3 years younger. That is like asking for the client list from Epstein Island. Okay, what the hell? There we go. Glenn lies. And then we got plan for your wellness. Oh my God, my brain is burning after this. Wow, have you ever thought about working as an investigator, like in the police force or private investigator? As always, well done. So appreciate that. No, I haven't thought that way. But one thing I am thinking of is, if your brain is burning and it needs cooling down, Dr. F, the door is open. Moving on. Amanda, the age thing is not relevant, I think. I was 16 and my husband-to-be was 24 years old. That was in the 60s, 69 to be exact. It was not a thing then. 16 is fine, but 24 and 14, as was quoted earlier on, is definitely not on. When I was 16, I was in STD 9, 1 year from finishing primary school. Now, I don't know how else to word this, but when you say STD, Does that mean sexually transmitted disease 9? Or does it mean something else? Does STD mean student? Or the year of what class you're in? I honestly don't know. There's too many variations and initials for different things. I probably, very likely, got it wrong there. Does the age thing matter with Noah Presgrove in this case? Leading up to the death, not so much. I've different opinions all around. Of course, it is what it is. If you're not breaking any laws, then you're doing something right, if you look at it that way. But I guess, and it does differ from person to person, it's probably just that general perception or opinion that when it comes to different age ranges and if it's drastic, are both in the same headspace to be making certain decisions, and with the experience that they have. Is it similar, or is there a major imbalance? If there is a major imbalance, one's more experienced than the other. One has more life experience than the other because of a higher age. The other one of a more vulnerable age than the one of the higher age obviously needs to take greater responsibilities and care. So there needs to be a deeper understanding in situations like that when there's a level of vulnerability and how one opens up and how one interacts and responds. Don't worry, this is not a therapy session, but we're edging very close to that. Well, we've appeared to reach the end of the comments. All in all, a lot has been talked about today and a lot of new video ideas. If I'll be honest with you, after the last one or two, I had like one video left to do with this case until I felt like I was up to date. From then till now, I think I've got about maybe 4 minimum, maximum 8, just from the last day or two. You can see how intensive it can get with these like different focused videos. Of course, some will be longer and others will be significantly shorter. But it's just to spread awareness of certain points and questions and themes, because they will get brought up in my longer videos, but they can get forgotten about. Each key event within the case also serves as a key video that needs to be looked at focused. We break it down bit by bit. Make the joke about the doctor, but reality is I've literally done that in the past with previous cases. You get the scalpel, you separate it all, you look at each individual piece, get an understanding, compare, contrast, debunk, reinforce, and then stitch it all back together to get a more full picture and understanding. It could be done here as well, but it might take more time because of the amount that's present, like material or more so discussions. I don't blame people if some think it's quite underwhelming, the outcome of this video. Not so much the quality of it, but what's been talked about within. Not from me, but what others are claiming, suggesting. But, it's better uncertain language compared to stating it as 100% a fact. Look how we saw in the past. Because whether there are still things going on in the background, the reality is, let's not forget the time where you might have had group chats, you had collections, comments of people talking about video footage of Noah's murder and 3 guys caught up within the video clip, recording themselves killing Noah and much more. Oh, and it's been handed over supposedly. Very hard evidence and very incriminating, and still nothing. And ever since, it's gone backwards and a bit more quieter. And as for Dina Rose, shout the individual capital high letters, man, you gotta listen to what I say. What's happened now? You don't really hear that much. So, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe other people rush ahead and speed too fast. Not literally. You go at a steady pace, you're not gonna miss things as much. You might get a better understanding. There's still things to be done, and with all these different ideas, it just enables the case to be kept alive longer. Realistically, you don't want the case to be kept alive too long. You want it to be solved as soon as possible. But if that can't be done, the next best thing is just to keep it alive so it doesn't just fade away completely. But that applies in general, certain platforms, it is what it is. Hopefully you found the video somewhat interesting though, and be sure to hit the like button, share the video so more people get to see it, And it'd be interesting to see what people have had to say about the theme of the laptop, whether you believe in it or not, and whether you think it's truly relevant to the case or not. Maybe based off previous themes, it wouldn't surprise me if it goes a certain way. And then an alternative outlook, it wouldn't surprise me if it's somewhat relevant if there's been other devices which may have had footage on. It's just trying to understand if there is photos or videos on the laptop, will it be of stuff that we've already seen or never seen before stuff? And as for the events of Noah's death or leading up to Noah's death, that can say a lot as well. My name's Warlight Wrath. I'll see you next time, whenever that is. Goodbye and good night for now.